Hey everybody, welcome to the third edition of Thru. This is going to be sort of a special kind of thing here. Now I've been trying to do these playthroughs, these walkthroughs in the last few videos, and I've gotten a lot of requests to compare the game we're going to talk about today, Myth, with Galaxy Defenders. Now I've done sort of like your traditional review of both of those games, but I figured let me try this. I'm going to do a playthrough of a scenario in Myth, and I'm going to play basically the first story quest. I think it's the first one, and play through that and kind of go through and kind of show you how the game works, you know, in a playthrough. And because I've gotten some requests to cover the story quest. Now if you watch the review, I basically said I never even looked at the story quest. I just did the chapter quests and played through those kind of randomly because I was kind of in love with the whole idea of how that worked. So I'm going to go through the story quest here. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to do another drive-through playthrough of Galaxy Defenders. I'll do a scenario in there, and that won't come right after this one, but it'll come relatively soon, and then I'll maybe throw together like a video blog, you know, synopsis of the two games. But I think a lot of people will rather just see the games kind of unfold, because it seems like there is a lot of comparison between the two games. You know, they're both new, they're both kind of these cooperative dungeon crawly combat kind of games. So let's go ahead and dive into this one here, and then I'll play through maybe a 1 or 2 part video. I will play through the whole scenario in this case, and then you can look for in the future. I'll come back and annotate this one for a link to the Galaxy Defenders video, and then also the the video blog review part of it. So let's go ahead and jump into this one here. Okay, now I have everything set up, and I have the tiles pre-set up here. So normally you wouldn't do that, but I have them just kind of set up to give you a visual representation. So if we take a look here in the rule book, you can see, okay, it tells you to set the tiles up here, gives you a little bit of information about the quest and everything that's happening. Kind of the story of the idea here is that our two adventurers, I'm using the soldier and the acolyte, so your fighter and your cleric archetypes, they went to sleep in an inn. They're kind of just regular dudes, and they passed out, they got knocked out, they're not sure what happened, and they woke up here in this layer here, and the idea is that you kind of escape and get out of here. So I'm going to try to point out some of the missteps in the rules. Now, I'm of the opinion, I've just kind of noticed here last day or two, going to check some rule stuff for myself, that, the rules are quite busy over on Board Game Geek, the rules forums. So I will try to point that out. Now, I'm not of the mind that the game is bad at all. No, I'm not even close to that. But there are certain things, and you'll see that here, and I think it's important for folks to see some of the spots where you kind of have to fill in the gaps yourself. There's just nothing you can do about it. So the first thing is, now we're landing on this tile here. So if we go ahead and zoom in a little bit, we can see, let me move these little crawler guys here out of the way. So I've basically activated this tile based kind of on my own intuition here. And so there's not going to be a quest here. What I've done is already rolled for a trap. Now I figured since this big tile up there is kind of going to be the main event, and then we kind of scurry our way out to the surface there, I'm going to leave the chapter quest for there. And I thought it would be fun to kind of do a trap here, because that's a different thing. Now some of the rules for some of the traps are kind of iffy, but I think this one that I've rolled for here, looking over it, makes some sense. Now what I've basically done is I had to choose to put this trap here. I just put it there because this tile also calls for some of these hunting packs here. Now we have here a set of melee crawlers and a set of range crawlers, and I probably have them confused and reversed, but I'm saying these are the melee ones because they have those kind of big old buff arms, so they're good for punching, but maybe they're loaded with poison or something. So I have those 2 hunting packs there. I decided to set the poison trap there. So basically we've woken up, we've disturbed the guards. Now we don't have any gear. If we take a look here at our player boards there, the scenario specifically calls for no gear. And the rule says, and it's not clear to me, it may be clarified elsewhere, but once you kill a dead body, you can loot it for basically one of your starter loots, which is a brown loot card, and also you draw a green loot card, which is kind of your second tier loot. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of house rule it because I think it makes more sense story-wise that once we kill one group of guys, then we'll be able to loot them, and then once we kill the other group, then whoever doesn't land the killing blow, whatever, will get their gear back. So kind of like you were captured, and put down here, and they took your loot from you, and so we've got to kill them back and then recover our loot. Finally, the last thing that happens on this tile here, you can probably not really see that. We're going to get 6 gold, and we're also going to draw a merchant card. So basically there's somebody down here that's been captured with us. I'm going to call that the innkeeper where we were sleeping. And he's going to be, you know, kind of ecstatic that we have saved him. And then so he's going to pop up. I set there some gold coins on top of the merchant deck so I don't forget to draw that, hopefully. And then and then I will do that, and then we'll have a little bit of buying and selling. You know, maybe I can get some gear off them, and then we'll move on here, and then we're going to go up there and hopefully trigger. I already set out a layer there because I'll talk about that more in a minute, but there's a layer there. We'll get out and we'll escape to the surface, and then we're going to see what happens here. So I've drawn my cards, my starting hands for each of the characters here. Just a quick kind of duh moment here. So the fighter, obviously the soldier, is all about doing combat. I did draw a very nice card here. This is Harvest of Bones, and you can see here he actually is going to be able to attack characters or creatures in a 90-degree arc, and then if I build up rage, I can get, you know, basically almost do like a complete whirlwind. Now some of the cards here that I have not yet drawn are going to be rage cards. So basically the number of cards I fill up here will add sort of bonus dice and extra things to you know, to my combat abilities. But again, I won't be able to recover threat, because remember at the end when you go and refresh and draw new cards, you lose threat for each empty slot. So he's going to be kind of a build-up threat guy. And then over here we have our Acolyte, and I did draw one of his key cards, and this is the Prey card here. So if you can see this here, it says shuffle your discard pile and draw 3 cards, and then all the Faith cards will actually go on top of this. So these Faith cards are going to act as kind of buffs and different, you know, defensive kind of things for the players. They also have heal cards, and they also have like remove condition cards, which is going to be important when we talk about how this poison trap is going to react. I'm going to go ahead and leave that for the refresh phase, because I've planned now what to do here. So one thing I'm going to do here is the first thing I was going to take my soldier here, move twice, and then I'm going to play a big movement card here, and I have this here, which is a sprint. And so if we take a look at that, just to give you a quick idea here, so I have moved my normal movement. If I had not moved, then this area would be triggered. If I moved a little slower, and then if I had, you know, basically run, which I'm going to do here, then this is showing me what I can and can't do. So I'm going to go ahead and play this just to get the extra move in, and I'm going to get him in good position. Now, this is going to put him, though, in range of this poison trap. The reason I'm doing that is because once you disarm that poison trap, and actually the reward is actually some anti-potion or anti-poison vial, so I should be able to cure myself. The rules actually don't even tell you what poison does. I'm going to say, based on my reading of the rules, I actually scoured the rule book quite a bit, that basically you lose 1 hit point per refresh phase. No big deal. That makes sense. It's poison. It's a dot, so it's a damage over time thing. So I'm going to do that, and that is the wrong guy. Sorry. He was there, so 1, 2, and then he's going to use the extra movement there. Actually grab the Acolyte, sorry. And so he's going to move in there. In this card here, you can see actually cause a little bit of darkness AP to go up. So now I've got 1 AP, a little bit closer to doing stuff. And he's done. He's not going to do anything else. He doesn't really have any extra cards. Well, he does have 1 attack, but I want to try to do the attack to hit all 3 at once. That'll actually trigger a treasure to happen. So anytime that you kill 3 minions kind of in 1 attack, or you kill like a captain or a mini boss or something, you're going to drop treasure. Now each of these has a limit of 5 treasure that can be dropped on this size of tile. So if we look over here, I set up this here. So anytime treasure gets pulled off, we're going to pull treasure off of there and then be able to put it on the tile. Now, interestingly enough, I've drawn into basically a very nice attack for the Acolyte here. So let's take a look at what we've got here. So if we have this Blessings of the Dawn here, so this is, I can use this now at normal movement, but if I were to move quickly, then I wouldn't be able to use it. Now this is going to add +1 fate die for actions per faith. So this, I'm going to actually store this up here. So I'm going to go ahead and play a Righteous Fury here. Now you're going to see why I'm doing this in a second. Hero attack actions do +1 damage, 1 hero per faith. So this doesn't matter because I have basically 1 damage will kill these, but I'm going to do that. So now I have 2 faith cards. If we take a look over here, then you can see, okay, I've got 2 faith cards, and now I'm going to play this card here. Now this one here is going to cause a darkness, so I should move that up before I forget. That'll be 2 darkness. And then this one here, if you read this here, Targets are hit with holy power. Range extends out and across 1 square per faith, and then nullifies resurrect, whatever that means. So this is also going to cause 2 darkness, so that's going to put us up to 4. And basically what it's just saying is you can hit that center square, but per faith card, I've got 2 there, it can hit 1, 2. So it can hit those guys in the corners here. So if I play this card here, I'm actually going to be able to target this guy here, and then I can spread that out to 2 extra spots based on, because I have played 2 faith cards. So it's a little bit of a gamble, but basically I'm going to be rolling this set of dice here. I'm going to be rolling the D10 for my basic attack, plus 3 fate dice. Now I don't have any weapons or anything that are going to trigger off these fate dice, so I'm not going to roll these, but this would give me an opportunity to trigger some equipment if I had it. These guys have a 2-hit number of 4. If we take a look at their little stat card here, we can see a couple of stats here. That's the number you need to roll to hit them. That's how many hit points they have. Here's the movement. Here's a little bit of stuff, how they activate and what their different attacks are. Now, these guys are all melee, so they're not within range. However, I need to keep reminding myself that these guys actually are ranged. So we're going to roll. We're going to try to roll 4 here, so let's see what we got. Oh, there's exactly a 4. Perfect. So that's actually going to destroy all of these. So we're going to say that these are gone, and then we're going to go ahead, since we did 3 at once, we're actually going to put a treasure right there. So now he can go and grab that for a movement point, which is a rule I often forget. So normally these guys have 2 movement points, and then but they cost 1 to do. So I'm going to have him, he hasn't moved yet, so I'm going to get him up here 1, 2, and I'm keeping him out of range of this here, because this is a range of 3, 1, 2, 3. So he's still out of range, and this guy's in range. He's going to take a little nick here in a second. So we're going to go into sort of the refresh here. Now we are going to have to move darkness up because we're within range of an enemy type there. And then we're going to have to do some management here, discards and everything. I'll do that off camera here. But it should be noted that I should have given this guy 3 threat, right? Because he did 3 points of damage, and he has 1 slot open, so he's going to lose 1 threat. So he's currently at 2 threat, and now this trap here is going to trigger, and basically it's an instant hit of poison on anybody that's within range 3. So it's going to tap him with poison. He's actually immediately going to lose a hit point, from what my understanding of the rules. That was hazy on me. It could be the next refresh phase, but I think it's the one he takes hit. So he's going to be down to 6 damage. I'm going to fish out the poison token there, and then we'll go into the next round. Okay, I've drawn my hands, and unfortunately I haven't drawn any rage cards to go with my Harvest of Bones, so it's going to basically be 1 die roll. I am going to add 2 darkness AP, so they will trigger darkness, but if I've killed everybody, then I should be good. And I should say I actually will get an extra D10 because I'm not going to move. So this first thing here will trigger there, and then so I'm going to roll 2d10 and then play that card. So the darkness phase will trigger after this. So if I don't kill anybody, then these guys will activate. But I hope I will. So normally I'll roll a fate dice. I'll roll it for fun. Go ahead and roll this and see what we got here, and we're okay there. So I got a 5, and remember, you apply, you just need 1 hit there, and that basically is going to hit everybody. So that also is going to trigger the treasure there. So I guess it would be here. So this is going to wipe these guys out. I wish that was a little more exciting, but I guarantee you we'll have some excitement, a little bit of antagonism happening to my party, and when we go on to the next tile. So first we're going to manage our threat there. So we'll move here. That's 3 threat. And then we will take here and drop a treasure token right there. Now he hasn't moved or anything, so he's actually going to spend 1 movement, and the second movement will be to go here, and he's going to be able to, we're going to have a lot of things actually kind of trigger here. Now we've wiped out the 2 groups, and we're able to grab some treasure. So we're going to get our starting loot back, and then I'll just go ahead and move him. It doesn't really matter. He's going to move 2 spots and take the treasure off. So he's going to get an extra grab too. So in addition to a green card and a brown card, we're also going to draw from the treasure bag itself. So here's what we've gotten here. So basically to get the starting equipment, I got the poker for the fighter, and then the wooden plank here for the healer. So they've got a little bit of extra die rolling when they do an attack. Then I also drew, like the rules say, and for the scenario, to draw 2 green cards. So I got a mace here, and then a buckler. So I think what I will do is actually give both of these to the fighter, leave him with the, or leave the healer rather with the wooden plank. And then from the treasure I drew a white and a green, which means basically go draw a card from that given set there. So the white card here is a buck, so I'm going to get a gold piece. I'm just going to go ahead and stick that in his inventory. And then also I have this ring, which is kind of neat, which is basically says here, draw 2 treasure tokens and keep 1 when picking up treasure. So I'm going to have this equipped on my cleric because he didn't get anything cool. Now, an interesting thing about this though is I haven't really totally cleared the tile altogether because this trap here is still active. Unfortunately, I didn't draw any cards that let me do a non-combat action. So I'm going to basically try to scurry away and basically just escape the trap there. So I have spent some darkness AP this turn. Normally you would trigger some darkness of action to happen, but there's no layer here, there's no spawn, so nothing's actually going to trigger, so I'm not even going to draw a card. And I'm just going to try to escape here. Now what I could do, and I may do, is I could probably loiter here. So if you loiter, basically it means you don't do anything, you don't spend any cards here that will generate the darkness, you know, on the corner of the card there. What that will do to you though, is it will reduce the amount of treasure that you can get for the rest of the act, or the rest of the story here. So when I move into here, normally I'd be able to generate 6 treasure from different events and killing different stuff. But if I loiter, maybe to try and draw a non-standard action card, excuse me, a non-combat card, and maybe try to draw into sort of a heal condition card, which I don't have to heal him because he's going to lose a hit point now. I could do that, but then I'm kind of hindering the amount of goodies that I'm going to get out of the quest. So it's an interesting thing. This is, let me just take a break here from the game instead of review. That's a really interesting thing about the game, is you kind of level the game with you. So when I move into here, you'll see a little bit more of that, but I can really make this very difficult for myself, and the difficulty is going to basically increase the amount of reward that I get out of it. So you can kind of play it how you want, which is an interesting thing, because maybe if you were playing with kids, I haven't tried this with kids, it's kind of unwieldy for kids to play, at least until I have my brain fully wrapped around it. But I can get in here, we can just play easy, you know, and just kill some stuff and not really make it too hard. And then you can kind of level it up. You could even play this scenario again. And then you can just instantly make it harder by adding more stuff to kill and more traps and, you know, whatever. But I would like to get this trap disabled, and so I can also get, I didn't say this before, but you can also get a serendipity, which you can spend any time to get different stuff and little bonuses and special miraculous things happen. So I think what I will do is I probably actually will loiter 1 round. So I'm going to try to remember to reduce the amount of treasure I generate for the rest of the round. I'll do that off camera here, and then we'll see if that was worth it. Well, it wasn't worth it. Now everybody's threat's been reset to 0 because I had a bunch of cards, empty spots happening, darkness has been reset, and I've kept a card, you know, for each guy. I've got a massive attack here I kept for the soldier because I expect to have to run into a lot of stuff coming up here. And so now we're going to move into the main area. We're going to leave the trap behind. Basically, we're going to leave that merchant behind. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these gold tokens here because there's not going to be any gold coming up in that particular tile. So the merchant, he died. You know, he didn't make it. And so we're not going to ransack his body or anything. And so now these guys are going to start moving. So this guy is going to go ahead and let's see, he's going to move up a little bit. Now he doesn't have any move cards, the fighter, so he's going to have to move over here. There's his 2 movement. And so can he do something that will generate, I don't want to loiter anymore, but I don't want to have these guys move into this big tile not being very close to each other. I tell you what we can do is we can actually have the healer, the cards I'm dealt is a little bit risky of a thing, but basically I'm going to pray. I'm going to play this pray card, so I'm going to dig through my discard pile, basically shuffle it up, hopefully draw some faith cards out of the discard pile, so you can hear me shuffling them. And I have another card that is going to heal based on the amount of faith, and that card will also generate some, so there's 3 cards. That card will also generate some darkness. So here we go, we got a faith. So we can take the faith cards here, keep them. These will go back in the discard pile, this other one, and these are actually going to land on this card here. And so Okay, so these are just for die rolling. So this one here is going to actually add a darkness, and then we're going to play this one as our main action here, which says restores 2 vitality times faith on one target and adds 3 threat. It's also going to see there add a darkness. So our darkness is back up to 2, and 2 times that. So I'm going to basically heal this guy since he's been taking damage. He took another damage. He's at 5. That's basically just going to max him out back to 7. That also generated a little bit of this darkness here, so we're not considered to be loitering. Anytime you generate at least 1, darkness point there, then you're good to go. Now I don't think this is going to apply multiple dots on this guy. So where was he? He was here. So 1, 2, so 1, 2, 3. He's in range there. So maybe just to play around 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2. He's still in range. All right, I'm just going to rule that it doesn't apply multiple dots. Who cares? He's already poisoned, and so he is going to actually take another poison damage though at the end of this round. So one of those hit points is now unhealed. So let me reset my hand. Hopefully I get a disarm, or at least a remove condition. Okay, so luckily for me, I did draw this easy way here. So this is, I can take this for a non-combat action and basically do this, add +2 d10. So normally you get a d10. This is going to basically do, I believe, 3 d10s the way it's worded. So I can take his 2 movements here, and then I can roll 3, and the 2 hit number on the trap you can see here is 5. And just so before we get too further, so you know about the trap. So basically I rolled a die here to start, and then got the matching symbol, and then based on the size of the tile there, you can see it's a 6x6. I rolled that up, and it has a little bit of stats and tells you about where to put the trap. And so you can see there that has a 2 hit number, I'll call it, of a 5. So I'm going to roll 3 of these here, and then see if we get a 5. There we go, we got a 9. So I have disarmed the trap, so I'm going to go ahead and disarm that. So now I have cleared the tile, so the trap tile is going to go away. I get a serendipity, which is cool. I'll talk about that in a second. And so I'm going to give each of these guys a heal potion. He's going to keep his. Now the fighter over here, he's actually going to use his, so he's no longer here going to be poisoned there. So that's going to go away. And none of this stuff I'm 100% sure on, but I also do not give a rip about that, because the way I'm playing it sure makes sense to me. But I will tell you that I'm not 100% sure about when, the poison damage happens or the non-combat action happens. Now, the rules say you have a card that allows you to do it, but I kind of also think, could I just do it whenever I want and roll 1d10? I don't know. It could happen, it could not be. But I say you have to kind of do the card, because I think it shouldn't just be something I'm able to do every turn. Because to my mind, what happens with these decks, if you saw in the previous round, I used a prayer and a lot of healing to basically kind of keep him, kind of nurse him back to health. Well, now this stuff, as I blow through the deck, is going to recharge. It basically almost like a deck building thing, where your deck's already built and you're more managing. If you think about deck building games, it's like a large hand that you can only see part of during part of the time. So it's this huge deck management thing where I'm using this ability, it's going to have to recharge and get shuffled back in, just like a Dominion or a Thunderstone kind of idea there. All right, good. Now I cleared the tile, so I stupidly put away all this gold. So I'm going to get my 6 gold back here. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, and we had 1 previously from the loot we found. So now we're up to 7 gold. I'm going to grab here the merchant, and then we'll take a look at it. So lo and behold, it's a miracle. The merchant did not die. And this guy, the merchant, or the innkeeper, as we like to call him, has some items available here. So if we take a look here, you can buy a vitality potion for $2. We can get a focus potion for $2. I have no idea what a focus potion does. I just won't buy it. Okay, and then you have some cards. So we can draw 3 cards off the green deck, and then the question mark means basically we can buy it for whatever the card says. Okay, so we found a nice piece of armor here. How much does this cost? This costs us $6. That's going to be almost all our money, but that's going to give +3 vitality to probably the fighter, because I expect him to send him in the middle of stuff. We have this here. This looks like a dagger. This is more of a brigand type of thing that you can tell, because if we take a look here at the little trigger ability, so this is that fate symbol there, that little heart, and this one will actually let you stay in the shadows. So sometimes the brigand there is more like your thief character, and he can make an attack from the shadows, kind of like your backstab, your rogue character from RPGs. They can do that extra damage, but he'll pop them out of the shadows a lot of times. That's a cool one there. And then we have here a short sword. This is actually going to give us 2d10s and a fate die, and then when you roll that, you're going to get +2 movement. And that costs us 4. So we're not going to be able to buy all of this stuff. If I buy that, that's 6. I got 1 left over. 4, 3. And see, this is pointless, so I'm not going to even use that. I could get a health potion there. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy this because I think this is really good. This is +3 life. I'm going to buy that, and we'll have a gold left pretty much. So we'll go ahead and equip the chainmail, and then his max was 7, so I guess he's got a max of 10 now. And then we'll put that up to 9. And then we will discard the others, and then we will discard all of our coins here, except for 1. We'll keep that, put the rest back in. So we've rescued the innkeeper. Now we haven't generated any darkness, so we're in danger of loitering even more, which is going to reduce our chances of acquiring treasure. And I really don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just play this movement card here, and this is going to allow this cleric here to move up 3. I'm going to move into here. He's going to step in there. Again, a little unclear here, but he moves in. He's going to trigger everything on this tile here. His movement's done, so he's got to catch up. Maybe I'll draw a 3 movement on the next turn here. But this actually will generate a darkness that'll put us up to 3. So we're going to spawn out some different things here. I'm going to draw a quest card off of the chapter deck here, so this will be interesting to see what happens. So this will give us a little bit of, hopefully, backstory to why we were captured, maybe, or something. You'll kind of see how that works out here. So let's go ahead and set everything up, and then I'll move on with the turn. Okay, so this is a little bit interesting here. I've drawn this quest here, and it probably has the worst flavor text that I've seen. Now, it kind of makes sense with what's happening here. So basically, if you were to be playing this like just as your sort of random let's draw a chapter quest card idea, basically you went and visited a priest, and he was like, you go and do this, and then you fight off some different stuff within whatever tile you have set up. Well, that doesn't really make sense here because I never talked to this father, what's his name? Father Josh. I didn't talk to him, but it makes a little bit of sense because maybe these 3 fighter tokens here, you can see these here, they came in here and they are trying to possibly rescue us. You know, the innkeeper vanished, you know, something like that. They've come in here to fight, and so our job now, at least according to not necessarily the flavor text of the card, but the sort of the mechanical goals and things there, is to basically survive this tile and have as many fighters survive as possible. The more fighters survive, the better our reward will be. Let's see, if all 3 survive, we'll be able to remove some of the junky tokens here and add some blue tokens and then draw. So I went ahead and set up a couple things there. I had the layer already set up there because I knew I was going to have a layer. The rules are slightly unclear, but also not necessarily totally unclear as well. Now this has 2 layers, but they kind of says, oh, well, they should at least have 1 layer. And I was kind of like, okay, I'll put 1 out, and then if I have another one trigger from the quest card, well, then that's fine. But I don't really, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. I'm going to put up the 2 hunting packs here. We have the ranged guys, right? Yeah, these are the ranged guys, and these are the melee guys there. We'll probably have some spawning happen anyway here. I would expect probably this turn or next turn. We're currently at 3 darkness. So I expect to trigger some of that. And so we'll see how the spawn goes. So they're going to spawn in some way, shape, or form. So I don't really feel a need to make this super hard on myself because I would like to try to get through everything. So we're still kind of in the middle of our previous turn here, and the fighter soldier guy doesn't really have anything to use. Now the cleric here, he has an attack, but it's actually a dot, and you need a bunch of faith, and all of these guys that are currently out on the board are a 1-hit kind of thing. So I'm actually just going to save this dot here, and we will go into the next phase here. So if we check here, the threat range of these guys here, these are 3. Now I'm not within 3 here, so I don't think we'll get an automatic increase in darkness, but these guys are within range, and these are sort of like NPCs. I don't think I don't know. I don't want to dig through the rule book. You may actually use these. I don't think so, because they're not really player characters. So we're going to go ahead and leave that. We're not going to generate any darkness here. And then we're going to go ahead and move into the card management. And everybody's got their threat reset, which is the main thing. So if this guy had a little bit of threat down here, then they would have, say, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, if he had a little bit of threat, then they would have triggered a darkness AP to advance, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, so this idiot finally drew a hustle card because he's just lazing around. So this is actually going to create a darkness. He's going to get +2 movement. So we'll get the darkness. We're up to 4 on the old darkness track there. And so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And so he's up there. And unfortunately, he's got really nothing else he could do. He's got this really cool card here where you can run up and basically kind of hit a whole bunch of stuff, like running and kind of like, I don't know, bouncing off their heads. But he's still too far away to be able to use that. I am going to save this one, though, for the next round. Let's see what the old cleric has to say for himself. Well, I think my guys are a little liquored up and pissed off that they were trapped down here. So I am going to go ahead and cast that dot. This is going to generate a little bit of darkness and a little bit of threat, which will then trigger darkness later. So I'm going to cast that here. Let's see. I can do normal movement, so that'll get me within range. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. So perfect. So that's got a range of 3. We'll go ahead and roll our dice here. And now we need a 4 there. Okay, perfect. So he's going to hit that. This fate does not roll anything, so he's going to zap him out of the way. And so that generates a threat, also generates a darkness, so we are at 5 darkness now. And since we are going to go into a refresh phase, and this guy is now within range and he's got a threat generated on him anyway, so we are going to actually tap that and then activate that. And then so now we're going to go check our event card and see what it has in store for us.